On today's wrestling news, CM Punk shoots on his time in WWE again. Becky Lynch has responded to the Ronda Rousey return rumors. There is an Elimination Chamber update, and Kendrick has requested his WWE release. Hey guys, welcome to DMK Wrestling with me, Dark Man Kpakpo. This is wrestling news, and let's start off what CM Punk has fired shots again. This time talking about Wrestlers Court. Yesterday he was having an exchange on Twitter with the AEW World Heavyweight Champion Hangman Adam Page, and basically he was talking about borrowing a pair of chaps from him, and a fan by the name Skeech101 said, "You are going to land yourself in Wrestlers Court for stealing his gimmick." And Punk said this, and it's an absolute bomb. He said Wrestlers Court was the most insecure, small energy, average white man embarrassment to the wrestling business of all time. That is straight fire from CM Punk. Of course, CM Punk has been very vocal about these things, especially since he left WWE in 2014. There's the infamous Colt Cabana podcast. And yeah, Wrestlers Court was this thing where it was a locker room existent thing where if you probably were on the wrong side of one of the boys or one of the veterans, you'd be summoned to Wrestlers Court, and Undertaker has been a judge, Triple H has been a judge, JBL most often than not would be the special prosecutor at times, and they'll make you do all these things with buying beers and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know, times definitely have changed from what they used to be, and I guess CM Punk really is vocal about this. This is a crazy shot he did fire. This made a lot of wrestling news late last night, and yeah, CM Punk with another pipe bomb. I guess it's been almost 8 years and he still has it. Let's move away from that quickly. Talk about Becky Lynch, who has responded to Ronda Rousey's return rumors. Of course, Shawn Rossap on Monday reported that WWE was making a push for Ronda Rousey to return to the WWE, and there has been a serious update regarding that, which I will get to in the course of talking about the story. But Becky Lynch quoted the Bleacher Report tweet that broke the news and said that, "Hey, I was wondering why you were going to show up. I still have her and she is doing good." Of course, she referring to the Raw Women's Championship, which she won from Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 35 in that triple threat main event featuring Charlotte Flair. We've been wondering as WWE fans when we were going to get a match of some kind, one-on-one between these two women. Of course, that was going to be the norm before that Charlotte Flair got inserted into the match. I guess it's 3 years too late, but WWE is still going ahead, and it would be interesting to see, of course. And also yesterday, Dave Meltzer did talk about the fact that not only was Ronda Rousey actually a lock for WrestleMania this year, but she is going to win the Royal Rumble this year on Saturday, which is kind of crazy, and it's a bit of a bummer for me because I really wanted Bianca to go back to back. But of course, it's a bigger story involving Ronda Rousey, of course, WWE's biggest mainstream female athlete they have dealt with in forever. So this as a way of attracting mainstream attention is a good move. I do hope that Bianca gets a title run at some point. Either way, this is the money match they look to be going forward with on night 1 of WrestleMania, so I hear. But yeah, developing story. We'll see where this goes. There is an Elimination Chamber update that you should be aware of. WWE has started to advertise the event that happens on Saturday, February 19th. This, of course, being a departure of their Thursday shows. And WWE has advertised Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Bobby Lashley, Charlotte Flair, and even Mansoor. But ironically, or in somewhat of a surprise, Brock Lesnar is not advertised to be at this show, at least presently. Now, there is some talk that this might be an indication that he will drop the WWE Championship to Bobby Lashley come Saturday night at the Royal Rumble. We don't know what's going to happen. We're going to see where this goes as usual, but it is quite interesting to know that Brock Lesnar, as of now, has not been advertised for the Elimination Chamber Premium Live event. We have an update on King Xavier, or Xavier Woods I should say. He has spoken about how he suffered his injury to his plantaris muscle. It was when he was doing an outside DDT, I believe, in their last match on SmackDown for the Tag Team Championships, the street fight with the Usos. And in the G4 livestream, he did speak about that. But Mike Johnson of PW Insider has noted that Xavier Woods is expected to go back on the road this week, specifically on Friday in an episode of SmackDown. Of course, the New Day, Big E, and Kofi Kingston will be taking on Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin. So as to whether or not he will make an in-ring return, we don't know that just yet. We do know he's going back on the road. It's also noteworthy to point out that as of now, he is not scheduled to be involved in the Royal Rumble match on Saturday. So yes, King Xavier's update is right there. That's what it is now. Now, this is a story I find very interesting. Apparently, WWE is planning to run 2 shows in one day during WrestleMania 38 weekend. It has been speculated that NXT Stand and Deliver, which I spoke about yesterday, will be held on the same day as WrestleMania 38 Night 1 in Texas. Of course, this I feel like WWE is shooting themselves in the foot here. They don't have a venue just yet, but they seem to be indicating that from initial plans, if those plans stay the same, then they will hold NXT Stand and Deliver from midday till around 3 p.m. And this is a bit of a letdown, I believe, in my opinion, because it's an indication of what WWE probably feels about their NXT product, but also fans coming from that event who probably may have purchased tickets to see WrestleMania might be in a bit of a bind, depending on where the location of this event is. We really don't know anything just yet, but we will keep our eyes on this. I really don't think it's a good idea for them to hold 2 shows in one day. It would be interesting to see, of course, but there's a lot of things at play. They might shoot themselves in the foot, considering that WrestleMania is already very long and then you want to stretch this out. It might not be the best plan, but who knows what will happen. So Randy Orton has spoken about his feud with the Fiend Bray Wyatt, which dominated the latter stages of 2020. Of course, if you remember that Inferno match at TLC, it was one of the most dramatic matches of 2020, especially where Inferno matches are concerned. And he did speak about that on the Ringler Wrestling show, talked about how it was a moment for him where he had to roll with the punches. And of course, if you remember that feud, there was so much that was going on that was just very strange, like how he would wear a Ben mask one week after being fireballed in the face by Alexa Bliss, and the next week he took the mask off and his face was magically healed. He would drop this quote and say, "Some of that was rough. They put me in a Ben mask one week and the next week I'm out of it and my skin healed. It's tough." Then you go to who you would imagine you would go to when you have a gripe and go, "Hey, I can't do this. Are they gonna," and then in a Vince impression, "just do it. It's gonna work." Okay, roll the punches, you go there and you do the best job you can. And it's true, like there are some things that were very much out of his control, but arguably in the last few years Randy Orton has done some of the best career work of, you know, his career. I literally just said career work, but yes, Randy Orton has done the best he can to produce such good quality with his presentation on WWE TV. Now back to NXT, Dave Meltzer has noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that WWE is very high on Shawn Michaels. Of course, if you're familiar with the events of NXT and the backstage controversy surrounding how Vince and co have pretty much gutted NXT of Triple H's leadership and his people, of course, William Regal, Road Dogg being released not too long ago, and so many different talents as well that were considered as Triple H projects. WWE is very high on Shawn Michaels apparently, and Dave Meltzer has noted that it may be very difficult for him to see Shawn Michaels being fired. It's almost impossible at this point. Ever since Triple H had his cardiac event back in, I believe, September, that forced him to take time off. Shawn Michaels has pretty much been the guy and has pretty much also been at the helm of NXT 2.0. It's quite interesting to note that But we will see, you know, how this plays out. I don't expect Shawn Michaels to go anywhere, of course. He did make an appearance on Raw Talk a few days ago. But yeah, that's the indication from Dave Meltzer that WWE is very high on Shawn Michaels right now, and you shouldn't expect to hear anything about releases. But something that WWE is not so high on, and particularly Vince McMahon is not high on, is Sheamus's old theme, Written in My Face. So Sheamus did talk about this with Graham GSM Matthews and said that the WWE chairman Vincent Kennedy McMahon absolutely does not like his Written in My Face theme. Of course, it's a shameful thing, lobster head. Those were the famous lyrics. Of course, it's not lobster head, it's something else, but I really don't know what it is. It does sound like lobster head. Anyway, Vince is not a fan of it, but Sheamus has not given up on the theme returning to WWE. Of course, he hasn't used that theme since 2014 before he got injured and came back in April 2015, I think the night after WrestleMania, with the Hellfire theme, you know, Bala, all that. But Sheamus has not ruled that out. The Written in My Face theme coming back. Of course, this is kind of interesting considering Jeff Hardy got his No More Words theme back. Drew McIntyre has pushed for his Broken Dreams theme to come back as well. We'll see how that goes, but let's round off this edition of Wrestling News talking about Brian Kendrick asking for his WWE release. Now, as of the time of this video, and this comes by way of Mike Johnson of PW Insider, he has said that about 6 weeks ago, Brian Kendrick asked for his WWE release, but that has not been granted as of now. I did find this interesting because it kind of falls in line with the whole Mustafa Ali situation that's ongoing, and WWE has not granted his release. Of course, he was working backstage for a while, but recently he has not been backstage, and it's a very interesting situation, I would say. Whatever development comes out of this, we will get to figure it out. But yeah, that's been it for me today on this edition of Wrestling News. Push comments down below, let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel for more wrestling news and other wrestling related content. There's a pros and cons thing you should go check out that I do for wrestling shows. Go check that out as well. Thanks so much for watching this video. I have been Dark Man Papo, and I will see you in another video very soon. Take care. Bye.